5-Card Fury is a simple 7-card poker-style game where the object is the player is looking to make their best 5 of 7 card hand to beat that of their dealers. The game is played with a 53-card Pai Gow deck that consists of the 52 cards of the 4 suits, as well as one Pai Gow pip-style joker. Now, just like in Pai Gow, this is not a fully wild joker, but it is a bug that can be used as an ace or to complete a straight or a flush. Now, in this game, there is also no qualifying hand for the dealer. Therefore, if a player has chosen to play the hand by placing a play wager, both the ante and the play wagers will both be active through the remainder of that hand, regardless of what the dealer's hands consist of. Now, to start the game, players are only required to place an ante and equal in size 5-Card Fury wager. At the start of the hand, players also have the option of placing the Serpent 7 bonus side wager. Now, the ante, play, and 5-Card Fury wager are the player's best 5 of 7 versus the dealer's best 5 of 7. The Serpent 7 bonus side wager, however, is based solely upon the player's hand and has no bearing what the dealer has in their cards. So once these wagers are all placed, the hand will begin. The machine will be programmed to deal 7 card packets out to each player and the dealer will first start by dealing the hands to the players at the table. And the dealer will get their cards last. Will fan and then stack them in front of the chip rack. Once all hands are dealt, the rest of the deck will be spit out of the shuffle machine and placed in the discard rack, and at that point players will be allowed to view their cards. Based upon the strength of the player's cards, of course, they'll decide to play or fold their hand. For this demonstration, all players are going to play, but it's at this point we would confirm any folders if they were folding, and then take all their wagers, take their cards, and lock them up for the remainder of the hand. The reason why we do not need to leave the Serpent 7 wager active on the table is that no player using any form of strategy would ever fold with a straight or better. Therefore, we don't need to leave it in to see if they had qualified at the end of the hand. So once all wagers are accounted for and all players have played, the dealer will first start by exposing their cards and determining their best 5-card hand. Here, as you see, the dealer has 2 pair jacks over 6s. And we'll offset the 2 unused cards just to flag for surveillance, the 5 cards being used, and then we'll simply move on to payout and see if players have won. Here you'll see the player has a decent hand of 3 8s, and what we'll do is we'll offset slightly those 2 cards not being used. Now, the reason why we don't turn them perpendicular is because the Serpent 7 wager actually pays off on both 6 and 7 card straight flush combinations, which we'll actually show you later in this demonstration. So the order of payment and resolution of wagers is going to go as follows. We're going to do the 5-Card Fury, play, ante, and Serpent 7 wager. So the first thing we're going to do is determine the 5-Card Fury wager. Here the player's got a winning hand of trip 8s versus 2 pair. And as you'll see, the 3 8s is going to be good for 1-to-1 on that 5-Card Fury wager. The ante and play, like in other games, are going to be even money when we win. We'll push when we tie, or of course we'll lose when we lose. And here we have trip 8s versus jacks over 6s, which is a winner. So we'll pay even money on those. And then for the Serpent 7, you'll see on our pay table, which is these 2 printed pay tables that I put here, that 3 of a kind is going to be good for 3-to-1 on that Serpent 7 bonus, like so. And once completed, we'll lock up that player's hands and move on to the next. See what this player has here. Not terrible. Player has himself a wheel or a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight, which is good enough to beat that of the dealer's hand here. So we'll start on our pay table. The straight qualifies also for a 1-to-1 payout when we beat the dealer on that 5-Card Fury wager. The ante and play are both going to get their even money. And then you'll see that the straight on the pay table we're using is going to be good for 2-to-1 on that Serpent 7, which will look like so. Then we'll simply lock up that player's cards, move on to any remaining players. Once all players are done, we'll lock up the dealer's hand, shuffle the deck per house procedure, and put it back in the machine for the next hand. So we'll reset for several more demonstration hands, which I'm going to take you through just about every combination that we could see in this game. So again, first thing players are going to do and only required to do is place the ante and 5-card Fury. They could sit there and play like so if they so choose. Once all wagers are accounted for, the hand will begin. Players' cards. I'm just going to place them up here for ease on my part for the demonstration. Dealer's cards out. Rest of the deck comes out of the machine and put in the discard rack. Players then view their hands, decide to play or fold. Again, now is a time when a player wanted to play, we would confirm, then lock up their wagers and lock up their cards. But again, for the demonstration, this player is going to play. So once all players are accounted for, first thing we do, like we had said, is we expose the dealer's cards to see what we're working with. Here we have 2 pair, 8s over 4s, decent hand. Let's see how the players fare in this particular situation. So this player, you'll see, unfortunately only has a pair of aces, which we know is not good enough to beat the 2 pair of the dealer. Again, this joker can be used as an ace or to fill in a straight or flush. Here it does not fill in that straight, so it will only qualify as an ace. So this 5-card Fury wager actually has a built-in bad beat bonus in the form of this busted monster bonus. So in order to pay out on this hand, you either A, need to beat the dealer and have a 3 of a kind or better, or you need to start off with a 4 of a kind or better and then lose or push to the dealer, and you'll qualify for a bad beat, which we'll get to later. So here, unfortunately, the player has lost and does not have a qualify for the busted monster bonus, so the 5-card Fury is a loser. Aces lose to the 8s and 4s, so the ante and player losers. And that Serpent 7, we do not have a straight to qualify for a payout here, so unfortunately this player has lost all wagers on this hand. So yeah, seat number 3 then on this hand. Here, we actually have a larger 2 pair. We have kings over jacks, which beats 8s over 4s. So now again, when we have a beat the dealer situation and we do not have a 3 of a kind or better, this 5-card Fury is going to be a push. But our ante in play simply beat the dealer, so those are going to get our even money. And the Serpent 7 here, just like the player next door, does not have a straight or better to qualify. Therefore, they're going to lose the Serpent 7, and that's how that hand would be resolved. Any remaining players would be resolved. We don't have any, therefore we lock up the dealer's hand, do our house shuffle, cards back in the shuffle machine, and carry on to the next hand. And you'll see these printouts are the actual pay tables we will be using at the Tulsa Hard Rock. So I just wanted to put them on the table for reference, since we're going to use this as a training video. So again, all wagers are accounted for. The hand will begin. First things first. Excuse me, having trouble grabbing the cards. Cards come out of the machine to each player. Dealer last. Expel the rest of the deck. Then players can view their cards. Again, both players are going to play for the demonstration. Any folders would be taken in. Now the hand is over and we move on to the resolution. Let's see what the dealer has in this hand. Here, dealer's only got themselves a pair of kings. So now, not great, but not terrible. Let's see how the players fare. Ooh, not a bad hand. Here the players got themselves a full house, 3 6s and a pair of 10s. And we beat the dealer, therefore on the top portion of this pay table. You'll see a full house on our pay table we're going to use is good for 5 to 1. Ante in play, we beat the dealer, so they're going to get their even money. And now on the Serpent 7, full house is going to be good for 7 to 1 on that top optional bonus wager. Not too shabby. Let's move on to player 1 and see what they're working with over here. Not bad. We've got a flush. No straight flush. We have ourselves a flush. We beat the dealer, so we're looking on this portion of the pay table, which the flush will be good for 2 to 1. Ante and play will get even money. Then flush on the Serpent 7 is going to be good for 4 to 1 on the top. Like so. Lock up that player's cards. Any remaining players will be dealt with. Once they're finished, lock up the dealer's cards. And as always, move on to the next hand. Now you can see these are pretty quick and clean procedures for a Pai Gow style game, which eliminates that slow pace to regular Pai Gow, which should hopefully increase revenue on our floor from the game by not only increasing the house edge, but we're increasing the hands per hour and the units wagered per hand. So again, once wagers are placed, hand will begin. Players' cards come out. Dealer's cards last. Expel the deck. Players can view their cards. Both players are playing. Any folders would be taken in. Hand is over. Dealer exposes. Here, dealer's got a decent hand of a straight. Player's got some work to do. Ooh, this player's got a very strong hand. 5 aces, obviously the strongest hand in the game. And of course, the 5 aces is going to beat the dealer with any hand, because the one nuance here is 5 aces is the strongest hand in the game, will actually beat a royal flush, which is why it's listed as the highest possible hand to achieve on that 5-card Fury wager. So again, 5 aces obviously beats a straight. On our pay table, 5 aces are going to be good for 500 to 1. Not bad. I almost have enough money to pay, so we'll pay out there. We'll pretend it's correct, even if it's not. Ante in play, again, even money because they have 1. And over here, 5 aces are going to be good for 1,000 to 1 on that bonus pay table there, which are going to be good for $5,000. Again, I don't have nearly enough chips. We'll pretend that's $5 grand. Not too shabby for a simple hand. Moving on. Now this player also has a very strong hand, and this is going to show you how the bonus pay table works a little bit. So here's that situation where the player actually has a 6-card straight flush. Now for the base game, for the ante playing 5-card Fury, it's just the player's top 5 cards of the straight flush that play. Of course, a straight flush is going to beat a straight, therefore we know we're a winner. So on our 5-card Fury pay table, we have a straight flush that we beat the dealer, which is going to be good for 20 to 1 on that 5-card Fury bonus wager. Our ante and player winner, so as always, they're getting their even money. And now we have a 6-card straight flush for this bonus, which is going to be good for 125 to 1 on top. And again, we'll pretend that that's the correct payout. We'll lock up that player's cards. Move on to the remaining players, which we don't have. Then lock up the dealer's cards and carry on. Allow me to reset for a few more hands. And I'm going to get to the Busted Monster bonus on both a loser and a push, so you can see what that looks like. And once wagers are accounted for, away we go as always. Hands come out to the players. Dealer gets their cards last. The rest of the machine gets spit out, put in the discard rack. Players view their cards. As always, players are going to play for demonstration purposes. And then we move on to the resolution portion. As always, dealer hands first. Again, this dealer's got themselves a flush, a pretty strong hand. Let's see how it goes for the players. Here, this player's got themselves, yet again, a very strong hand, of course. We have a royal flush. So the joker, as always, is again going to be used as an ace or a straight or flush card. And here it's going to be used to fill that straight and flush for the queen of diamonds for the player's royal flush. Royal flush beats a regular flush, therefore we know we're at the top half of the 5-card Fury pay table. This is going to be good for 50 to 1. Ante and player are going to get their even money as always. And now here we just have a 5-card royal flush, which is going to be good for a 100 to 1 payoff on top. Not too bad. Moving on to the next player. Ooh, another nice hand. We've got ourselves a 4 of a kind here. Not too bad. Of course, 4 of a kind beats a flush. Therefore, on the top portion of the 5-card Fury pay table, we got our 4 of a kind paying 10 to 1. Steal money from our friend over here to show you. Ante and player are going to get even money because they have 1 and are always even money pushing or losing. Now on the top, we have our 4 of a kind, which is going to be good for 20 to 1 on this bonus wager on top. Lock up the player's cards. Any remaining players will get dealt with. Then the dealer's cards get locked up. And then house shuffle, as always, back in the shuffle machine for the next hand. All right, a few more hands left in me here. Now we're going to get to how it looks when we hit the Busted Monster bonus. So again, as always, hand starts just like normal. Accounted for wagers are on the table. The hand will begin. Players get their cards first in sequence from 1 to 7 or 6. Dealer's cards last. Rest of the deck out of the shuffle machine. Players view their cards. Decisions are made. Folders will be taken in, if any. Move on to the resolution portion, as always. See what the dealer has. Here, the dealer's got themselves a very strong hand of a straight flush. It's going to be kind of hard for players to win this one, but you never know. But let's see what happens. Here, this player has only got themselves a pair of aces. We do not have a flush with those diamonds. And we lose to the dealer. And we do not have a qualifying hand for the Busted Monster bonus, which we need 4 of a kind or better. And we're losing, so we know this is going to be lost. Ante and play are losers because we have lost to the dealer. Serpent 7, we do not have that 3 of a kind or better, so we do not qualify for a winner there. However, now you're going to see how the Busted Monster bonus looks. Now, this player would normally be pretty upset when something like this happens. I would be very mad if I lost to the dealer and I had 4 of a kind, but not in this game. So like we had said, because we have a very strong starting hand of 4 of a kind, and we have lost to the dealer's straight flush, we have now qualified for the Busted Monster bonus, which again is if you have a royal flush, straight flush, or 4 of a kind, and either lose or tie the dealer, you now qualify for that 1,000 to 1 payoff, which happened here. This player would get themselves a very nice 1,000 to 1 payoff on the Busted Monster bonus for losing to the dealer with their 4 of a kind. Ante and play, like always, just function as normal. They have lost, so the ante and play come down. And because the Serpent 7 does not matter what the dealer has, the 4 of a kind is still going to get their 20 to 1 payoff on top. So even though this player was kind of unhappy that he lost to the dealer, in the end, he has won, or she has won, significantly more money, because the only downside was losing that ante in play. And that's how a losing Busted Monster bonus appears. Now moving on to the final hand, I'll show you how that push looks with the Busted Monster bonus. It'll allow me to reset one final time. And then we'll carry on to the last hand. So again, we already know what's coming. It's going to be obviously a very strong hand here. Players' cards come out first once all wagers are accounted for. Dealer's cards. Expel the rest of the deck. Players view their hand, make their decisions. Both players are playing as always. And now the final hand is over. Any folders would be taken in. Suppose the dealer's cards. Whew, we got ourselves an issue here. Obviously, we've got a dealer with a royal flush. It's going to be pretty tough to beat that, and actually impossible, because we can't have 5 aces when the dealer's using one of those aces. So let's see how this one plays out for the players. Here, the player only has themselves a pair of 10s, and they chose to play and see if they got lucky. We've got no straight out there. So unfortunately here, we do not qualify for any Busted Monster bonus, so it's a straight loser. Ante and play, because we have lost to the dealer, both lose. And no 3 of a kind or better for that Serpent 7, so this player is a big loser on this one. Not trying to hurt their feelings, of course. And now here, whew, very nice hand, and normally a player would probably be pretty upset if they were not playing this game with a bad beat built into it. So here we have a royal flush versus a royal flush. Normally we would be pretty upset here, but just like we had said before, when the player starts with a 4 of a kind or better and does not beat the dealer, here we have tied. The player qualifies for that Busted Monster bonus, which again here is going to be good for 1,000 to 1. Ante and play are push, royal versus a royal, so we push. And on that Serpent 7, as always, is going to get paid no matter what the dealer has. Here we've got that royal flush, which will be good for 100 to 1. On that bonus wager, that's not correct, but we'll pretend it is. So that player, again, just like the last hand, is actually pretty happy that they did not beat the dealer with their royal flush. And then, as always, lock up that player's cards. Once all bets and hands are accounted for, lock up the dealer's cards. House shuffle, that goes back in the machine, and that's 5 Card Fury.